all of you colleagues, for these institutional heads, vice chancellors, and many of them. My perception on the topic what we are talking is for this institution building for excellence in higher education. We have to drain many things from the other places, other countries, but the final goal is to build within Andhra Pradesh. So that's actually my goal, and whatever I had today morning, I feel that half of my talk has already been done by the others. So my job is rather very simple. How do we really build excellence? Let me just come with a tripass, like a Cambridge tripass. Any university should have sciences, medicine as one unit, engineering is second one, humanities, social sciences, but literature. If you don't have these three components, I think it will cause an imbalance, and therefore what I am saying is even in the engineering colleges, we must really have these three components. Like I may be drawing too much comparison, but I will limit it to a small amount. About 40 years ago, IIT Bombay has inducted 40 faculty from humanities. There was a hue and cry, yet the director could withstand, and the students said we need 40 faculty, and therefore the Senate has to approve. And if I am hurting some of the people, it is not intentional, but I just wanted to share it. So the next point, can you really,
yes.
Should I give a signal, Shanti?
No, I'm listening to you.
Yeah,
I just wanted to say next.
This is a point which I wanted to share it rather emphatically. Building new universities, I am more specifically saying in Andhra, is not a solution under the present circumstances. Rather, we have 26 universities. Why don't we, sorry?
No, they have to be strengthened.
Yeah, they have to be strengthened, not merely strengthened. You have to regenerate. That's actually the one which is by different, rather than really strengthening. And the last point in this one, if you permit me, we must identify the incompetent, either administrative or faculty structure. You encourage competence, but you must also, the poor performers, you decide what to be done with them. Because if you live with the dead wood, we finally become dead. Therefore, this is a point, I know those who are familiar with the British 1976, Margaret Thatcher closed the universities. Today, next day, she started another campus on the same campus, but the rules are very different, new structure, and they are becoming world class today. So I am not saying that we have to do. So there is greater need, greater requirement to look for. I will come in the next few slides how to really do it in our state universities. Some are really very well known internationally. I myself, I know that about 1960 I was a student of Andhra University. In 65 I was a student at Sri Venkateswara. So I am fully conscious I am not a foreign student. The next one. One of the points which this morning also I heard is this is over the last 10 years I have been very strongly feeling, very strongly. We must make our universities area-centric, and by really using the societal problems. This morning our colleague from Srikakulam has already experimenting with that one. So the point is, suppose I just quoted the coastal because there is a reason specifically for the coastal this area. Now, so Rajahmundry, see there is such culture, such poetic Sanskrit scholars, and then there is a lot of archaeological things. Kakinada, there is the fisheries, then and also the fertilizers, and Kakinada has ONGC, Oil India, Reliance. Then you have a delta. That's actually the nature has given to the coastal area. Have we really used these? We have allowed the companies to come and take out the wealth. Have we really asked ourselves? We don't want money. If you permit me, say for example, the university in Kakinada, did we ask ONGC, I want a laboratory to be set up here and you have to pay. But in turn, I will give you something very specific which you don't have. So ONGC the state must make mandatory. State must make mandatory both for the university and also for the company to interact. Because in my view, I have been listening for the last 25, 30 years. Let us encourage and let the universities go and ask the company. Company will say, they are not coming to us. But if you make it mandatory, industry will come. And there are solid examples from India where when it has been made compulsory, mandatory, the collaboration just stuck to it. And the next point.
Can we just discuss this for 2 minutes?
Yes,
It's
yes.
a very important point. And JNTU Kakinada was telling how they are engaging with the Navy and they are giving them algorithms.
Okay,
But
there is a Reliance, or ONGC has now about 2 years ago, they have set up a wing of Chennai ONGC in Kakinada. I know that many of my students are there. And those having crores and crores and crores of resource, number one. Number two, there are extremely competent scientists at ONGC. These people must be invited to go and teach as an adjunct prof, which we have tried this experiment. It was a grand success. And vice versa. JNTU Kakinada must go to the ONGC and also really participate in the projects. Who are the beneficiaries? The students from the campus. The ONGC will also have a feeling that they have really shared. And if I really say the resources, the infrastructure in the ONGC, I'm just quoting one, is not fully utilized. That we all know, it's an open secret. And if the JNTU go and ask them, they will gladly do it, but you have to ask with a smile. Don't demand. That's actually say your student is in Kakinada, he will be the ambassador for you. So, of course, it really goes, the alumni are the backbone for the state, which we have not tapped. Yes,
so
it
this
is.
makes a lot of sense to all of us. And it also connects with the point Dr. Saxena made yesterday.
Okay.
That the local problems, like you said, 100 villages, local problems,
Yes.
we can do research. Yesterday you were saying lifestyle, health, so many social problems, research, innovate, and we may come up with something useful. So he's telling us very useful and practical thing, adopting 100 local villages, identifying local strengths and problems.
1 minute.
Yeah, sorry.
No, no,
Madam, can I speak
Madam
1
has-
minute?
No, only I am empowered to interrupt him, others can talk in the end.
Yes. The next one, please. So there is a fertilizer corporation. How many universities interacted with the fertilizer corporation?
Yeah.
I don't know the answer. Nannaya was a great poet of the country, but he was located in Rajahmundry or in that area. Now, on the same score, the Rajahmundry representatives are here. ONGC is only 4 kilometers apart from the new campus. Or if it is not 4, it is 6. ONGC has 400 acres of land. And
Yes.
you are from Rajahmundry.
Yeah.
So therefore, it's already 6 years old.
No, sir, 9 years old.
Okay, so then all the more the point is clear. I think the message is clear.
Yes, sir.
So, if you start it from today, the collaboration, if the secretary says it is mandatory, the next time when you hold a meeting, I want to see the collaboration, it must, then
I've said it.
You have said it. So, so please raise your hand. I will also raise my hand. So, if it is, so it is actually recorded, and I think this lady, young lady, so you
My
have an
saying
order.
will not, they have to motivate the
Yes,
local people.
yes.
So my saying will not matter unless
No,
they
no,
motivate.
but I will tell you at the end just
Okay.
why it is,
Have a commissioner, have a secretary, come with this.
it won't help.
We do it in another way.
Yes, but what the point is, do it. The next one, Shanti.
Reach out.
Yes, Vizag.
Don't be isolated. Reach out.
Vizag. See, sometimes or many a times, a calamity is a boon for the scientists.
Yes, yes.
The Vizag is known for decades, even as a student, the cyclones were a common feature, and they are therefore, but Vizag, Andhra University has done extremely well in the meteorology, cyclones, storms. How much you have attracted. By today, Andhra University should have been the focal, a national center for cyclones, national center for forecast. Why we have not done it? So now I will, you are from Andhra University?
I'll talk in the end, madam.
Yes, but why we have not done it is not today. So for the last 50 years, at least I know.
But I was trying to do something,
Okay.
it happened, I want to talk it at the
but the
end.
point is, the funding that you can get for such kind of centers is not in lakhs. You will get 100 crores. 100 crores. Have we got 1 crore? No. So that's the point which I am saying.
Absolutely.
So therefore, this kind of a scene, we had gone through the last year, and did we really go to the Ministry of Earth Sciences, the minister, and say we want a national center in Vizag for a cyclone or a disaster center? We have not asked.
Yes.
And you ask, I am sure the secretary will go to Delhi and get the money.
I'll go with the
We
VC.
have, we
Yes.
have,
Yes.
We
It has to
actually-
come from the VC,
Yes,
from the
it has to,
university.
yes. But you
All of
see,
you study your local problems.
and don't think that cyclones is a problem of the meteorologist. Cyclones is a problem of social sciences, humanities, engineering.
And US had Katrina. They could have sought our help since we have managed our cyclones much better.
Yes, when I say that actually it's a boon, 2004, but December 26th, tsunami in Chennai, which I happened to be there on that day. Because of that tsunami, the whole nation, there is a tsunami center in Hyderabad, but don't ask why in Hyderabad, but at least it is, you are lucky it is in Andhra, and that is an international center, and they are now, it is coming out as a massive global center from next, I think, 2 months. It is not in hundreds of crores, it is in thousands of crores of money there. How many universities in the state have collaborated with the Hyderabad tsunami center? Ask the secretary.
Invoices.
Yes, so I just call it tsunami center for only.
It is a part of
Yes, so therefore, this is what I say, area specific. The next, please, Shanti. Then there is one greater need for Andhra. I am specifically talking, I am a non-resident Andhraite, but I am a resident Andhra now. And so I have a dual status. We must upgrade some of the universities whose strength is at a national level and at an international level. Why don't we really go and bang in Delhi? We need a national school of petroleum. Don't ask for a university, because upgrade one of the universities in the state you identify and then make it as a national school of petroleum, petroleum doesn't really mean it's only petroleum. It's a chemical engineering, civil engineering, mechanical engineering, electrical. Then you have microbiology, you have geology, geophysics, mathematics, statistics, and a supercomputer center. There is a supercomputer center sitting in the middle. How many of us really have used the supercomputer? And very close to the coastal Andhra, there is a rig, not one, 10 rigs are running. How many of our students or faculty have gone there? It is running for the last 20 years.
That one, no? I went
Yes,
there.
to the
I went
left.
there. I went there when
Yeah,
I was
but you are-
joint collector.
but you are not a
East
student.
Hyderabad.
No, I just told her she'll seek appointment with the ONGC, we'll take
Yes.
this proposal.
I went
Yes.
there to the train.
Excellent idea.
Yeah, so there is in fact
They were taken
related.
by helicopter.
So, but the supercomputer center is in Rajahmundry,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
They take us in helicopter and they'll drop
Ah.
us there. You know.
Okay.
So
Maybe
therefore,
for actually instead of our campus.
Ms. Sumita,
Yes.
I think please get a national school of petroleum
Yes, we
for the
tried.
state.
Yes, rather
Yes.
than establishing, or if we want to establish a new university that's independent, we should do this first.
Yes, because,
right, great.
and mean attach it to upgrade some campus.
We are going to start trying this. Right.
Yes,
Yeah.
the next one.
Coming.
Yes, I mean, I'm
Coming,
just
coming.
quoting some examples. Now, this is actually critical. Then again, I don't think I'm a pessimist, I'm an optimist. Just because I'm not pointing out any mistakes. No, it's only to see that since I have the dual birth citizenship of Andhra and Maharashtra,
Maharashtra?
no, I'm just saying because
Maharashtra is not a city, only
no,
India.
I'm
and,
just joking.
Yeah.
On the lighter side. So we must really bring in, again I would say mandatory. There are several state and national for these centers in Andhra. Did any of us, any of your universities brought them and then he said, you please set up your center, you require only 5 acres of land. Now, this will have a tremendous impact. Only one example, I will not go. I have to quote one in Maharashtra, in Pune. The lady morning that symbiosis she was talking. Now, how they grew, they had interacted. Interaction is the key there. But here, if there is a center like in Pune, there is an inter-university center for astrophysics. Oh, it has really gone an international center. Pune University physics students, math students, statistics students have greatly benefited. And how many of them got admission anywhere in the country, either for teachers, scientists, or in the industry? And there is no such, the only one, I am not quoting central bureau, I am quoting only the state universities specifically. If anybody can tell me that these are there on a campus, I would be very happy. This is a well-respected group. Is any university in Andhra has any of the state or binational centers located physically on the campus?
Early
Center
warning
for Bay
center
of
she
Bengal
has.
Studies.
Yeah, early warning center.
Yeah, but that's not a national center.
That's DST's.
These are excellent ideas.
You see, these are actually, and you also have, let me share it, ONGC, because of the alumni of Andhra University, about 10 years ago, ONGC somehow brought in, 15 years ago, 2 crores of money that is called the Marine Center. Marine Center, with all great hopes. They put in the money. Only one mistake which they committed is they must have really had a hold jointly. It should have been run. ONGC and Andhra University should have been running, but they left it in good confidence. I mean, in good faith. Now they say that we will think twice to support. I am sharing.
Delta Studies.
I am sharing the chairman of ONGC's views. He openly told in a meeting, in a public meeting, and therefore you have to really change that opinion. Okay, so this is, we must really, why the tsunami center is not on our campus in the Susmania? It have been. You have an excellent statistics department in the Susmania.
Yeah, land is there. All
Land.
universities are sitting on so much land,
Yes.
buildings. These are all low-hanging fruits, but they need a little concerted
They
effort.
just only the tsunami center has only 50 acres of land.
And C.R. Rao, we have sent a letter to him to be part of the State Knowledge Advisory Board
Yes.
also.
Yeah, but of course he is very anxious to be part of.
He's already written back. He's given the name of somebody.
Yes.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, say in a knowledge corridor or so, C.R. Rao is very keen that he comes to Vizag.
Yeah, and once there is a center in Andhra University, he will come, he will bring faculty. So Andhra University wants it or SV University wants it?
Andhra University.
Maybe SV wants it. Whoever moves first.
But can you give a proposal by today? Yes.
I'll try by
You know,
evening.
your
By
entire
evening.
presentation, we will take it forward.
No, I'm
So
just
far, whatever you
saying
have
because
After your talk, we'll.
okay. So therefore
Naval
this
architecture can be at Kakinada JNTU.
you should.
No, in Visakhapatnam.
It's already.
In Visakhapatnam.
It's there.
After the talks.
Yes.
Just note down your points.
So there is actually, somebody was telling we have poor infrastructure that can be completely remedied. And IIT Bombay, I am quoting, please, I am sorry, that there is a semiconductor industry called Samir. Samir was started at IIT Bombay. IIT Bombay has 490 acres of land. So Samir got only 10 acres of land. That opened up a new window. Number of students got employment. TIFR came up in a big way. Just one center, one corporation that changed the culture.
Was it given on lease, the land?
No. They have given forever. And they have, it's only 10 acres. But we use, we have hundreds of these acres of land. Rajahmundry probably in the.
MOUs can be examined.
Yes. Even what is that?
They
Reddy's.
can seek government advice and we seek law department advice. This all can be.
Yes. So that's actually practical. So to take challenging areas of research and innovative developmental activities by
Technology
the
parks.
technology park
You
is
please go to the internet and see technology parks being developed all over the world.
right in India, in Chennai, but they have developed it at the compound wall on the interface of IIT Chennai. And that is the IIT Chennai has a major role, the government has a role. Actually, one factor, please do not ignore either a municipality or a village, panchayat or the government. Actually, that is, we as teachers feel very independent. But I think, at least I would confess, I have done something wrong in the past. That actually brings in a new dimension to your thinking. Involve all of them. The next one. Now, in the whole country, inter-university centers is a great idea that has been thought of. Jayant Narlikar in Pune started it, a former TIFR prof, and there are whole country has only 4 or 5 inter-university centers. I quoted a few. You can really quote any number. Why Andhra Pradesh cannot bid for a center, inter-university center, by the UGC on any these areas? I said, I am aware there is a Buddhist center. You see, Andhra is the second largest Buddhist culture, or
Guntur,
even
we can start in Amravati itself.
anywhere, because
Nagarjuna University.
yeah, but yeah, I have
You have a
seen.
Buddhist center in Nagarjuna University?
Yes.
Yes, we have seen it,
Okay.
and some people have gone and
Is
seen
it
it.
functioning well?
It is there.
I also saw the statue of the Buddha in the Vice
But-
Chancellor's room.
But we are talking about the benchmark here.
We should hear about it
Yes.
in a good way.
We have to go looking for where is the Buddha.
They are also planning for Buddhist kind of practices.
Why don't you really combine, join hands with, it should be a, I say that there are crores of money for it, but you should bid for it.
See, yesterday we were talking about where investment will come from. Dr. Raj Reddy did analysis
Yes.
that you have a budget of hardly 30 to 100 crore. You are talking of going to 28,000 crore in 7 years. All these ideas. An idea can change the world.
And we have such good handicrafts.
And he's giving valuable priceless ideas, please. Excellent.
No, but say like, we have several industries that handicrafts. It could be a inter-university center
Yes.
and industrial by development center for handicrafts.
Yeah.
It could really catch up national and international as well. The next one, I know that only 5 minutes more for me.
No problem. Go ahead.
Now, this, I'm not saying something new here, but with shyness, I said promote academia industry collaboration. But in the hearts of hearts, I should say make it mandatory, academia industry collaboration. Then if you make it mandatory, the faculties will streamline, the students will streamline, the administration will streamline, you will get 100% student support. Let me assure you from my personal experience.
So mandatory means there should be a GO.
There should be a GO that every university must have at least a few collaborations, and if they don't have, I think what I said, like your Finance Corporation of Andhra Pradesh model, which I have seen about 12 years ago. And those who have done well, they got promotions. Those who are poor, they have been asked to go, don't quote, they have been asked to go on voluntary by the family. And they have succeeded. That's what I heard from the horse's mouth. And therefore, it may not be a palatable idea, but I am saying that when you make it mandatory, you will get the, you will get, because quite easily. So that's actually, I said, industry must come in as a faculty. We have done this experiment about 5-6 years ago locally. We brought in one industry whom we know quite well. He chipped in the highest amount of 3 lakhs per student for an MTech student. He gave 6 fellowships, MTech in exploration. And then we brought in NRSA, we brought in CSIR. And so the faculty are all from this. And the local university chipped in.
All this will happen if they also create the right environment by reaching out to the local industry, reaching out to alumni, the NRI alumni, and
yes,
so on.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So it has been done. I am not preaching. It has been done right in the city of Hyderabad. And the students are, by naturally, they have put in 5 years, 6 years of experience. When they really come in, they come with a problem. And so this is, I strongly feel that there is a need for this kind of mandatory stuff. Not Shanti. What's your name?
Prachi.
Okay, Prachi. This, I would really go to any extent. There are hundreds of success stories, employment generation through entrepreneurship. I don't know how many universities in Andhra, out of the 26, have this program. Well, I'm not looking for an answer, but the point is, it is never too late. Can we really start this entrepreneurship program? And it will automatically come if you respect the alumni. We don't respect our alumni. If you do it, that is absolutely possible. There is also a statement which I can watch. There is a total mismatch between the current education imparted and the skills required for the economy.
Yes.
So there is, I am not saying I am fully in favor of fundamental science. Absolutely. Without fundamental science, we can't go further. But I say that this comes back to the real need-based structure. If the university is there, at least to start with half of the university to need-based education. And so the courses have to be changed. And one finest example in the world, all of you know the Stanford. Those who have seen Stanford, and it's all, in fact, you see a product, it's all Stanford. And why? HP, the Hewitt and Packards, they dumped in not $1 or $2, millions of dollars, because the mentor program at Stanford was superb. Because just to see his mentor, and so they have built in Sun is from Stanford. You know, I'm not saying.
Stanford University Network is
Yes. So
expansion.
that's actually, can we really quote one? No. So we must, and the other local example, it's a it is known all over the world. The University Department of Chemical Technology in Bombay was only a department. Even 40 years ago, if you see that, nobody would think it's a department. It is like a university. Now, they respected alumni, and the entire center was funded by the industry. Who is that industry? The alumni. And it was, the funding from the government was marginal to that. Now, if you go and ask UDCT, that's known as a UDCT. Anywhere in the world, it is well known. Now, there are examples right next door to us, and we should really, it is never too late. Why don't we really take that example? It has been made as a deemed university by today. Even IIT Bombay was rated slightly lower than UDCT in chemical engineering, even 40 years ago or even by today. And therefore, it is a state, it is under the Bombay University. So don't think state universities are inferior. Never. It is we can make it so high. The next one. Oh, now Shanti has come back. Okay. I know that this morning our other colleagues from Delhi, faculty recruitment,
Leena
retention.
is
Yes. So she talked about it. I will not really repeat only that figure. So we must pick that processes. We will leave it to you. But of course, that should be a separate one. How do we pick up the faculty? But the point is, the last point is very important in my view. Physical retention of faculty in any public university is not a problem in today's context. Every one of you will spare. If you got a job in Andhra University, will you leave? No.
Yes.
No. But
They're
the
going to
second
leave.
point is what is more challenging today in the younger people who are really highly motivated mentors, younger people, and they are really truly highly driven. It is extremely tough to retain them. So they are therefore, finally the choice should be that last but one line. We must try to get those kind of faculty who could change the whole campus. If you have 3 faculty, change the whole campus.
We can also connect it to what Raj Reddy said yesterday, that 20% of the faculty in Carnegie Mellon are Indians.
Yes.
Yes.
And many of them would like to do good for their own country. So we can connect with them. They can come for a semester or 2 weeks or summer holidays. They are here and they can run some kind of laboratory or research thing or some kind of thing.
Yes.
You know, so if we cannot retain people who want to move out,
Yes.
at least we can attract them for some short time period out of some love for the country, love for the Janambhumi, things like that.
Yes, it's a very good idea, because we should not this ignore. There is a national character. The next one, I think I have already exceeded. Faculty development, well, there are, it is probably like a preaching, but it's not a preaching, it has been practiced. So we must, the teachers, however independent we are, however knowledgeable we are, we must go through the rigor of getting through at least twice a year a special courses in our own specialty. And then, as ma'am has said, bring your faculty from outside who are experts, not just from outside. And then they can run the courses, and then it should percolate to the students ultimately. And so there is, but there is also one which I am very strongly feeling, I shared it with you the other day. All administrative jobs, right from the head of department, deanship, the registrar, and the vice chancellors must go through the management programs, because there is a dependency on the administrative heads on a clerk. Just you tell me what is the rule number, he will tell. So then he will, so the dependency, you know what is the greatest harm it can do.
We should also have participatory approaches to administration in the institutions. Now, going to Nagarjuna University, Acharya Nagarjuna, the campus had so much of garbage all around the hostel, greenery was not well maintained, posters are beautiful buildings, but posters are stuck. But there is no student community participation. They should form groups, they should give them responsibility. Participative approaches to administration would really work in universities.
Definitely.
I mean, that's my view.
Yes, no, I think that's what our colleagues.
Things will become so easy.
Yes. We don't have
Even
to ask
in the
for money.
mess, the mess also, student committees should be formed along with teachers.
Yes.
To monitor, to govern.
Don't complain that I don't get idli sambar every day.
They will manage.
Yes.
They are in the committee.
That is there in almost all
Yes.
universities. In
No, but
Andhra it's there. Andhra is
The next
major
one,
program.
Shanti, I think I am coming to the last one.
Andhra is first in the class. We are not talking of the person who stands first in the class.
Yes, okay. So this is actually, of course, how do we, the point from, how do we really, we are missing one point is alumni. Somehow, I must, if you permit me, that we are not respecting alumni. How do we really create that atmosphere? Alumni must come. I wanted to donate it to you. This lab, I don't want to see in shambles.
It's a very big motivating factor. If your college, alma mater calls you,
Yes.
you will go running.
So how many of us have written notes or by letters or emails, and how many of us have invited them to come? Every alumni is coming to hometown for every once in a year now, once in at least once in 2 years. But if you ask them to come to the campus, they will come.
They will come.
They will come. And when they come, they don't go empty. They will certainly leave something. This is what we have done in a school, in the rural school in our village. We call the alumni, it's a very small example. We are rebuilding a school of 70 years old, small school. And it's only the budget is 1.5 crores.
Yeah.
But alumni has contributed 20 lakhs. And what all we did was send a mail, please come here and see how badly this infrastructure. And they came and gave a check.
Even Andhra University, that beautiful campus, that Andhra Bank thing,
Andhra Bank
class
thing
of
was-
82
Yeah.
has contributed to that beautiful building, which you are giving to
And-
IM Vizag for temporary.
Yes, and another
classes.
auditorium, AC auditorium, worth about 2.5 crores was also.
So that's what he's trying to tell, that you have created one or
health
two
center,
small micro
one
examples.
dispensary was also.
He
there.
says these are micro examples, we should have much more and we
No,
can
no,
do
no.
much more.
So
Yeah,
it
we
is
had
good.
a.
Not just money, but in
Yeah.
terms of their contribution to teaching, to mentoring students.
Yes.
They would love to mentor the students. You think our children will gain so much? They will become more confident. Yes.
So there is,
Great.
I think if there is a transparency in our accountancy, and there is a transparency which you can demonstrate to the alumni, they will come down to you. Because IIT Bombay, and if you say about 10 years ago this culture has come, they created about
Kanmal Rekhi Institute.
no,
IT,
that's only
IT.
one, but 100 million was the target. They created about 60 million. One campus, I'm saying. I think the last one probably, there should be a last one. This is whatever I have said. I said universities, laboratories will never thrive in isolation, will never thrive. I'm actually saying for the last 50 years of experience, I'm sure that some of you, it's not the donkey's experience, they have to interact constantly with the local town, village, and municipality and the government. And ensuring interaction is the responsibility of both the university as well as the government for this administration, where I'm saying please make it mandatory or a GO. That really, because GO culture helps in India.
What I'm going to do, I'm going to ask Dr. Tulsi, who's recently become a PhD, to take your presentation and draft some kind of guidelines which should go into a GO. Can we clearly? Yeah, we can see you very clearly and hear you clearly. So you can go ahead.
Sorry for the little delay because of change of my appointment schedules. It's nice to be back again interacting with all of you all. And it must be a post-lunch session. I don't know how much it is going to really take in, by the members there, but I hope to make it interesting. I just start from where we concluded, and I was giving you all the story of symbiosis, which is an interesting one. If you actually watch it in the form of a film, which I'll send it to all of you all, if I get the addresses. We've grown into a large university now, and just to talk about the so-called success that others interpret, and we still feel that we are in the learning process, is all about excellence and quality, as I said earlier also. And we believe that it's excellence and quality not just because of what we are doing, but because of the performance of our own students in the corporate world, or it is because of the other stakeholders, which are our present students, our present faculty, and everybody around us. And we also give a lot of importance to our collaborative partners, and I think there's a lot to learn from others, than do it yourself. And this is actually, we believe in actual symbiosis or a symbiotic relationship where, you're mutually dependent on each other and you're also interdependent on each other. And when I talk about collaborations, it's not just about our foreign partners, but we also have collaborations with some of our Indian partners through some of the work that we are doing, and collaborations with industry and bodies like FICCI, CII, and so on. So if you look at our international collaborations, we have collaborations with almost 52 institutions across the world, and although the number appears large, we have identified areas, in symbiosis and areas of expertise in our institutional partners, and have tried to collaborate in such a way that it's a win-win for both. We are a part of the Erasmus Mundus consortium of universities, and therefore we draw a lot of expertise from the European universities. And it's not very difficult, sometimes for universities and colleges across India, they feel that it's only the elite institutions or the so-called private institutions can collaborate with foreign partners. But it's not true, because most institutions across the world are willing to come and look at what is happening in the Indian higher education system. And it's just a mail from a faculty member from one university to a university abroad, or a mail from one of the administrators to the administrator in a foreign university that generates a collaboration. So it's really not difficult. We have tried to collaborate with like-minded universities, and not with the universities that we aim to reach but have not reached that level. By which I mean that we will aspire to be a MIT or a Harvard or a Stanford, but we know that we know that it's not possible, because they will want to collaborate with the likes of the MIT and Harvard. So what we did is we identified institutions across Europe, from US, and mostly from Asia, which are quite similar to symbiosis. And what we did is we studied them and we decided that, okay, if this is a good institution in management, we will tie up or collaborate with this institution with our B schools, with our management institutions. If a particular institution is good in engineering, then we decided that we will collaborate with our engineering school. And this is how the collaboration started. I can give you a successful example of one of our collaborative partners is the Nanyang Technological University in Singapore. So what we did is actually we just started off with student exchange programs. So we got a mail from Nanyang saying that some of their students want to come and visit Symbiosis, and we said why just visit? You know, we could have what happened? So can you see me or hear me?
Yeah, please continue.
Great. There's some things on the screen that make me feel I'm disconnected. So with Nanyang, what we did is when we got an invitation, a letter from them to our international office that some of the students want to visit us, we said that why should they just visit us? We can design a program for them. So we told them that please send us the profiles of these students. And we looked at profiles, some of them from media, some from engineering, some from management and so on. So we designed a nice Study India program for them. In fact, we were the first universities in India to coin the name Study India program, which is now of course replicated by many others. And what we gave them was everything to do about India. So even if you were a media student or an engineering or a health sciences or a management, they wanted to come to India to know more about India, to learn in the Indian education system, and to probably go and look, actually visit some of the companies, some media houses and some public organizations. So we did that. We designed a 6 weeks program, which was called the Study India program, and it was so successful that when these students went back, they gave such a wonderful report that more and more students in batches started coming, and that's how the journey of our Study India program started. Now it didn't end at that. Because the students went back and spoke good about the university, there were faculty members in Nanyang who were interested in coming to us. So we designed a program called Scholar in Residence. We couldn't afford the airfare, the business class airfare and so on. So we said that we will host you on our university campus. We can provide you with a guest house. We can provide you with an office space, maybe some secretarial help and local transport. You would imagine the faculty was more than happy even when we offered just this much. But the idea was to get them on board. So faculty started coming in, started being on our campus for again 4 weeks, some of them 2 weeks. But what happened was that because of this faculty being present in our staff room, the whole culture of our staff room changed. Because our faculty were more inclined towards teaching, not so much towards research. But because this Nanyang faculty came in, it brought a research element into the faculty room, and then joint research started happening between Nanyang faculty and us. Now, so student exchange, faculty exchange started happening. Now we said that if their students are interested in coming to us, I'm sure Indian students also want to move out. So those who could afford education outside obviously went out. But what about the Indian students who are within? So we designed a global immersion program for our Indian students. And we said that, of course, they were to fund themselves, but a little bit of funding was provided by the university. So that we sent batches of students, on the global immersion program, the good ones, the top merit ranker students, to universities like Nanyang and many of our collaborative partners. So that was a wonderful experiment. Then what happened is, with the Nanyang collaboration, I'm just giving you one case study. I mean, there are several such case studies with so many other universities that we've done. So Nanyang president, this reached the ears of the Nanyang president. Professor Bertil Anderson is the president of Nanyang Technological University, a very renowned scientist who was the former president of the European Science Academy, was on the jury of the Nobel laureates, and that high stature guy. So when it reached his ears, he said that, I'm going to India, can I visit Symbiosis? He asked his people. And we immediately arranged for him to fly from Delhi to Pune. And he came and sat with us. And he was so thrilled with this whole idea of Symbiosis and how Dr. Muzumdar has set it up. And when he interacted with Dr. Muzumdar and all of us, he was so excited that he said, let us work together to do something really big and something impactful. And you won't believe it, we have now set up a center of waste management and sustainability along with Nanyang Technological University in Pune, in Symbiosis, which will cater to the various issues and problems of waste management. Now this is in sync with the Prime Minister think about it at that time, but now when we set it up, we realize that this is in sync with the policy of the Government of India of Swachh Bharat. This is something that is affecting the citizens of Pune on a day-to-day basis. You need to find technological solutions to waste management, and we didn't have the bandwidth. Here there was a university, Nanyang Technological University, which was already doing work, finding technological solutions to disposal of waste, and here we have collaborated with them for such a big venture. This is something that Pune city is happy because the Pune Municipal Corporation is working closely with us. Pune citizens are happy, and our own people who are already doing PhD and research and all that in various areas of waste management are more than happy because they have got now partners to work with from Nanyang Technological University. And this is how you build your institutions into becoming centers of excellence. You drive from the outside world, you drive from the outside universities, see what best they are in, see what best you are in, because as much as you think that they are good in, they are weak in certain things, and they also want certain things from Indian universities. So it should never be a relationship of a donor and a recipient. It should always be a relationship of partnership. So when you start talking to people outside, you should always talk about what good is in India, what you can do, what best you can provide, things here in India, and they are more than happy. Like for example, Nanyang has a center of waste management, but they didn't have any problems in their country. So they are looking at Pune city and India as a laboratory, which they would have otherwise got if they had not collaborated with us, So it's like that. So it's a win-win situation for them and for us. At little rate, we realize that we are actually providing them with a laboratory of so many problems that they can find solutions to. And the win is for us is that we are finding solutions for our own citizens, for our own municipal corporation, and so on and so forth. So I'm just giving you this example. We have several examples like this. You can also, the other examples are of industry-academia partnership. And here is what we are actually envisioning to. I'm just giving you symbiosis stories because that might relate to what you all can do within your universities or within your state. For example, we have an engineering college and we have a health sciences institute. Of course, not a medical school because being a medical doctor myself, I don't think we want a medical school right now. But we have a school of biomedical sciences, we have a paramedical school where we produce BSc medical technologists. We also have a school of nursing and so on. Now, the engineering school and the health sciences schools were at a distance of almost 20 kilometers away from each other. I felt, and all of us in the university felt, that can we do an innovative experiment by getting the health sciences closer to the engineering school and set up something called as a health science and technology park. See, most of the innovations, be it engineering or biomedical sciences, are never pure biomedical or never pure engineering. It's only when you marry the disciplines with each other is when actually innovations and knowledge generation comes out of. So we felt that can we get the health sciences and engineering together and produce and do something that no other people have done. And therefore we are now looking at relocating the health sciences next to the engineering school. Now what we felt is that along with the health sciences academic programs and the engineering academic programs, can we set up something called as a health science technology park by attracting some of the startup companies who don't have enough space and don't have money for investing in infrastructure? Can we provide them with infrastructure and tell them that whatever R&D you're doing, instead of doing it somewhere elsewhere, hiring a space or building your own space, the university will give you space. We will charge you a nominal rent or maybe not even charge that rent, but come and do your R&D work on a university campus with a proviso that you involve our faculty and you involve our students, preferably the MSc, MTech and PhD students. Now this is a win-win because the industry gets human resource which is getting trained or trained. They get faculty mentors who may be already interested in working and they get space. What we get is knowledge production. Our students get live projects to work on, which they would have never got if we were doing some projects in our own laboratories because that would have been restricted to a few projects and not so many. And the best part would be that some of our own students might become entrepreneurs looking at what these R&D centers are doing or may get jobs in these R&D centers. So this is again an innovative experiment of a health science technology park. It is in the conceptual stages. We have done some part of it, but we still feel that we need to do a lot. Now when we started discussing about it, writing papers on this and talking to people, it was a Belgian government which somehow noticed what we are doing. And in Belgium there is a huge science park of Wallonia, which is In India, we'll identify Symbiosis as a knowledge partner, and we will help you to design this health science park. We will in fact have some of our companies which are based there, located here also, and so on and so forth. So see how institutional building happens through collaboration. Some good work you start doing, helps you to build not only your institution, but also attract some good institutions from all across the world. So these are two examples that I have cited. And the third example I would like to give you is something again innovative that we have done, probably you all can think of doing is, being a medical doctor myself, people felt that if Dr. Vidya is a medical doctor, why is it Symbiosis not starting a medical school? I mean, we have land, we have the financial resources, we have human resource. So what is the reason why a medical school is not being started? I for one believe as a medical doctor that yes, India does require doctors, but what India requires most is nurses, paramedics, people like technologists working in cardiac cath labs, in medical lab technologists, in radio imaging and so on. More importantly, the health sector requires skilled manpower in the healthcare sector. If you and I are patients going to the hospital, you would want the ward boy or a nurse, to be well equipped and well trained in her knowledge. Even a poorest of poor person in a municipal hospital or a government funded hospital would want the same health care to be given to him as what a person would want in a private hospital. And the lowest run of people who run the healthcare sector are the skilled manpower that we envision to produce. So we have set up a Symbiosis Center for Health Skills. So we are talking about skilling India. We felt that instead of looking at all the skills, can we develop a niche in one area, which is the health sector. And we have decided to set up a center for health skills, where we will train right from ward boys to general duty assistants to home health providers to radiology technicians, diabetic educators, and a dime dozen people that we will train and let out in the society. Why are we doing this? Because our university campus, Madam has seen it, is located a little away from Pune city with so many villages around it. Now if you look at the youth in the villages, they are anyways doing nothing because they've suddenly become so rich because they've sold land to people like us at almost 1 crore an acre and so on. So, you have this whole demographic dividend that we have. But if you don't channelize them well, they are going to turn out to be demographic disasters. So what we did is we have a mobile health clinic which goes around the villages to provide healthcare services, drugs, medicines and all that to the poor people. In the same way, we also tell them that we are now doing some training programs. Will you want to be a part of this training program? And they are more than happy to be a part of this, So we are training them to focus on the health skills part. And hospitals which are tertiary care hospitals in Pune are willing to absorb these people if we train them. Now this training requires hospitals. Symbiosis doesn't have a hospital. So we have come up with an idea that can we set up simulation labs, So, as a doctor I'm just telling you, so if there is a mannequin and if you want to train a ward boy to take blood pressure, it's easy to do it on a mannequin than a human being. Why? Because if you go wrong, the mannequin gives a beep. It gives an alarm that, you've not tied the cuff well or something like that. So we are now developing simulation labs where this skill-based training can happen. The idea is that, more and more people will get absorbed to the tertiary care hospitals that are within Pune city and probably within Maharashtra. We've done this experiment by training people on ambulance services. You won't believe it, even your Andhra Pradesh EMRI, which had the ambulance service, had majority of the people trained by Symbiosis. You look at London ambulance service, our people are getting jobs even on London ambulance service. Apart from most of the states picking up. So much so that when Maharashtra government launched its ambulance service called Maharashtra Emergency Medical Services, they have tied up with Symbiosis to get ambulance people trained by us. So we train the drivers of the ambulance and we train paramedics to take care of, casualties and first aid and, enough treatment so that the person can be reached, to the hospital. So you never know, things that you do might not only help the community, but there will be a lot of stakeholders who will want to collaborate with you. So Symbiosis has always looked at, moving ahead, not just alone, but getting all the stakeholders alongside and also looking at collaborative partners for whatever that we are doing. And this has been an extremely successful experiment for us. I personally feel that Andhra Pradesh is extremely poised to become an education hub. I mean, some of you can read my paper on education hub and why, what India is doing and why India is not actually projecting itself as an education hub. So I've done enough research on this. you all can actually look at two models. One is the Singapore model and one is the Dubai International Academic City model. So the Singapore model of education hub is driven by three parameters. One is they attract foreign students, so student driven, which is called a student hub. What the second thing is education and training, where I'm talking about skills and all that. So that's the way they do through collaborative partners. And third is that they invite some of the top universities to set up their branch campuses there. So for knowledge production. So there are three things that Singapore deals in. One is attracting students, not only their own students but even foreign students from the neighboring countries. The second is they're collaborating with some of the top universities from across the world. And third is they're now focused on research, knowledge production and entrepreneurship by inviting some of the best universities in the world to set up their branch campuses. So the second model is the Dubai International Academic City, where they provide land, infrastructure, excellent support infrastructure to invite branch campuses from all across the world, because their idea is only student centric. They feel that if they give land and subsidy and tax relaxations, say to a MIT or a Harvard or to Symbiosis, Manipal, whoever, then by the sheer presence of these universities in their area, they will be able to attract a large student population to their country, so much so that their own country will get a good human resource, generated for jobs, employment, etc. So their objective is to generate human resource by attracting foreign students and their own students by attracting the branch campuses and doing, so that they do programs there. Now, I personally feel that you all should have a mix of all such things. So, what I say is Andhra Pradesh, a new state, an excellent, governance, a very progressive looking governance, and therefore you all can do wonders. And if you all can do a combination of all this, so you actually attract foreign students by identifying some of your own institutions, as centers of excellence. So you must be having engineering colleges, health sciences, and several others. Can you identify some of your own institutions, your present universities, and empower them by giving them funds, giving them human resource, and so on, and developing them as schools or centers of excellence, and identify some foreign collaborators to collaborate with them so as to enhance their excellence in not only teaching but in research. Then that's one way that you can do initially to start off with. The second phase would be to attract branch campuses to set up their own campus. I had heard that Georgia Tech was invited long ago and had been promised 100 acres of land and so on and so forth. But for some reason it must have fizzled out. But there is still an opportunity to attract some of the best players from all across the world. And Hyderabad and Andhra Pradesh as a state is internationally known. So I'm sure people will be more than happy to set up their branch campuses there. Third is attracting industry to set up their R&D centers. It's very, very pertinent to have industry come and set up their R&D centers. We always argue that, like in Pune, you have a national chemical laboratory. So in Pune, you have a national chemical laboratory which is isolated. Imagine if the whole national chemical laboratory was on the Pune University campus. It's a few kilometers away from Pune University campus, but if it was on the Pune University campus and had a strong association with the chemistry and the biochemistry departments, I'm sure Pune University would have been more benefited than a national chemical laboratory being so much away. So can this education hub that you're producing also have R&D centers and more research organizations like NCL, like ICMR, ICER and all co-located next to it? And the last but not the least, can we have centers of skill development in certain sectors alongside these industries that are put up and alongside the university and institutions that you put up in this education hub? So you have centers for skill development, you have R&D centers of companies, you have branch campuses of some of the good universities, and you identify your own universities that you can empower and get them there. And of course have some of us, selfishly I'm saying, some of us like Symbiosis, Manipal and Bits Pilani, so the top ones, to come and set up campuses in this education hub. I think this will be a very, very innovative project. This will be probably for the first of its kind in, I can say, at least in Asia, because this combination no one has done. Dubai International Academic City is branch campuses, Singapore is more collaborative campuses. You have South Korea, which is now projecting itself as an education hub, where they are looking at R&D because they want entrepreneurs and research to be generated, so more of a knowledge hub. Malaysia is coming up with another education hub, but still not conceptualized. So this whole story of education hubs is as early or as late as 2004. The first education hub was set up in Dubai International Academic City, in Dubai, which was a knowledge city city or the knowledge village that they called in 2003. They moved this knowledge village into Dubai International Academic City in 2007. Singapore projected itself as an education hub, which they called it initially as a global schoolhouse in 2004. So it is in this decade, in this century only, that education hubs have been, kind of Christian and have come up. So I'm sure Andhra Pradesh can definitely project itself by empowering their own institutions, by building partnerships, by building your own institutions into pools of and centers of excellence, and inviting the other stakeholders, as I said. So, these were my thoughts. I don't know how much of it has interested you, but, I just thought that I should share some of things that we are doing, with you so that, we will learn from you all and maybe you all can learn a little bit of what we are doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. That was such an Thank you so much. That was a very intense and sincerely delivered input, and all of us are extremely impressed by the very practical ideas you have shared and the great concept you have given us for the education city, the education hub.
I will hear you well the last sentence about foreign students. What did you say?
How are you? What are your observations on how foreign students are looking at India? Which are the departments they feel attracted to? What are the field experiences there?
So let me talk about a little bit about foreign students. First of all, you need to have a dedicated office for international, which is called as an international office. And most Indian institutions don't have one. And you have to have a dedicated staff which has the right aptitude and attitude towards foreign students. And that's the biggest challenge, because many of our teachers and professors and administrators feel that, these foreign students are ones who are encroaching upon the seats which were ideally should have been given to Indian students. But it's never like that. The UGC prescribes a 15% over and above quota for foreign students, so they never encroach upon, our seats. That is point number one. Point number two is these foreign students who come to Indian institutions are the ones who actually cannot afford to go to the West. So they look at India as affordable education. They look at India as culturally similar to their own countries and cultures, and they look at India as providing value-based education, and they also look at India and Indians as very intelligent people. So you have to look at foreign students as unofficial ambassadors of goodwill, and that's what we have always done. Because one foreign student passing out of your institution or our institution spreads the word of not just the quality of education that you have provided to him or her, or the university ambience or the institution ambience that you have provided to him or her, but talks about your country and about your city. So you don't know that international relations based on soft diplomacy or soft power is what you and I can actually help the Ministry of External Affairs in. We work very closely with NEA, and therefore I can say this, that some of our students are now, the ones who came in the 70s, are ministers, are bureaucrats, are top businessmen in their country, and have been helping the Indian government because they've been educated either in symbiosis or in some Indian university. 2 years ago, we had President Hamid Karzai, the then president of Afghanistan, for one of our international relations conference. And you won't believe it, he was so happy to see almost 5,000 Afghanistan students in the city of Pune, and majority of them obviously studying in symbiosis, that he had, without being in his program, he asked us to arrange a special meeting with all these students, sang Hindi songs with these students, and was so happy that he said that I've been educated in Shimla and I became the president of your country, and I'm sure one of you, sitting in the audience could be the president of Afghanistan one day. So that's the kind of leadership that, Indian universities can generate for other countries. Because, you should be generating human resource or build capacity for your own country. In a globalized world, you're talking about the whole world. And if you can actually generate human resource for another country which is not so good as yours or not so developed as yours, I think you're doing so much that, that country will be more than indebted to, towards India as a country and towards, of course, your institution. So foreign students generally come for undergraduate programs. Very few come for PG, and of course very, very few come for PhD and research programs. Though of course some of the countries like Iran and some neighboring countries do send students even for PhD. But majority come for undergraduate programs. Amongst the undergraduate programs, obviously majority come for business administration, commerce, arts, the programs that art kids would not want to. Meaning I'm saying the general programs, not the so professional programs, So that's the level of foreign students, and their intelligence because they cannot keep, actually compete with the intelligent Indian mindset or intelligent Indian minds of our own kids. Now, what is more important is most of these countries are non-English speaking countries. So one has to understand that our students speak excellent English, but those kids cannot speak a sentence of good English. So what we did is, what my father did, the first time that he set up Symbiosis, and the first institution in 1971 that he set up was an English Language Teaching Institute of Symbiosis, popularly known as ELTIS. So any foreign student who came to India, came to Pune city to learn in any of the institutions in Pune, the first thing that these students would do is learn English with Symbiosis. And it was not just written English that was taught, but more spoken English. Because the child becomes comfortable only if he knows the language. Tomorrow if you go to Spain, you would be comfortable if you use Spanish. So it's as simple as that. If the student comes here, he has to forget Hindi, he has to at least know English to converse with people, to not feel homesick, to be a part of the society and so on. So English language training is very, very important. So what we do is we give a foundation course of English language teaching. We actually have designed our own English language assessment test, which is quite similar to the IELTS or the TOEFL. And once a foreign student passes a particular band, only then he moves into a higher education institution. If he is below the band 3, then we put him through an English language rigorous course of either 6 to 8 months before he joins a degree or an undergraduate program. Even while he is in the undergraduate program, there are separate remedial and tutoring classes for these foreign students. Our teachers are trained that the class comprises of foreign students who don't know English, whose intelligence level may be lesser than our Indian students. So don't teach the same way, you could teach a whole class of Indian students, because you have to understand that there is another group of students in the class who may not understand the way you teach, your delivery, your diction, your level of teaching and so on. So teacher training is equally important. And last but not the least, training your support staff is equally important. Your canteens or your cafeteria should have some food that is acceptable to them. Especially in Andhra Pradesh, we serve spicy and hot food. Simply by that hot food available in the canteen, students will run away. So you have to look at the minutest of things which may not strike you, but it strikes the foreign student. So he thinks that I can't eat this food, how can I live in this city or live in this country? So food becomes most important than education to some of the people. So we have to look at the support hostels. Now, foreign students may not come from very affluent societies, but definitely come from a much cleaner environment than what we can provide. So if you look at hostels, typically some of the public institutions, and I don't wish to, of course, differentiate between public and private, but sometimes are not conducive even to Indian students because they're simply not kept clean. So or have common toilets. Now, how would you have a foreign student living in a 3-seater or a 2-seater room which is unclean, which is not well kept, has a public toilet and doesn't have a toilet of its own or attached toilet? Now, these are support services that are equally important to foreign students as much as quality of education. So when you look at a foreign student, please look at him that one day he is going to be a leader in his country, and one day he is not only going to talk about you and your institution, but is going to decide international relations between his country and ours. Once you have that in mind, that they are unofficial ambassadors of goodwill, then everything falls in place. And therefore, I say a dedicated international office is very, very important for every institution to have. And that's the way we attract foreign students. We've never ever advertised in any foreign country. All foreign students have come by word of mouth. Second, it is the second generation of students, whose parents have passed out are now sending their boys and girls to us. So I think that's something that we are very, very happy about.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time.
In person someday when I come to Hyderabad, and of course meet you in person to discuss, things further.
We look forward to our continued association and to having a campus of Symbiosis in Andhra Pradesh.